Hello, hello. It's Mrs. Coleman here. Today we are going to be in your student journal going over the maintaining mathematical proficiency at the start of chapter 6. We are on page 167 today. So the first point of this section right up here, so numbers 1 through 6, is going through the order of operations. This is something that we have done several times before, but it's always a good reminder to get us back on track of thinking the best routes of going through and answering questions. So there's two things that we can use to help us remember what is the correct order in which we do things. The first, which I'm sure many of you guys remember, PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And so what that means is you're going to use parentheses and then your exponent, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So a good thing to point out is multiplication and division. They are on the same level, which means you do what you see first from left to right. And the same thing applies to addition and subtraction. So hopefully this is all review because I know you guys would have started working with this a long time ago. The other one is called GEMDAS. It is almost exactly the same. The only difference is instead of having a P at the front, we now have a G. And all the G is meaning is it stands for grouping. So all of the different types of grouping symbols. Or if you were to have a fraction and you have to do the top part of the fraction before you can actually take care of it. So same idea, just another way that you are going to see it. So I'm going to do a couple of these with you, and then I want you to try a couple on your own. So starting off first with number 1. When I go through these, I like to go through it step by step. I want to make sure that I'm taking care of one thing at a time, not trying to do 17 things at once. So remember, PEMDAS or GEMDAS, we're starting with something that's in the parentheses or in some sort of grouping symbol first. Right away, I see this whole thing right here. That's in parentheses. I got to take care of it. So I'm going to do 14 plus 20. That gives me 34. And then 34 minus 6 gives me 28. So now I have 28 divided by 4 minus 6 squared. So now I've taken care of my parentheses or my grouping symbols. Now I move on to exponents. So for this one, that would be 6 squared. Remember, 6 squared is the same thing as saying 6 times 6. Not 6 plus 6, 6 times 6, which gives me 36. So now I have 28 divided by 4 minus 36. Now I gotta take care of any division or multiplication that I see. Right away, I see division. I don't see any multiplication, so that makes it easy. And so I'm gonna take care of, whoops. I'm gonna take care of this division right here. 28 divided by 4 gives me 7. So then I take 7 minus 36 for my last and final step. And so if you're like, well, the bigger number comes second. The trick for this is treat it like normal. So I'm going to do 36 minus 7. I borrow. There's 9, so I get 29. But because the smaller number came first, my answer is a negative 29. And there we just used order of operations to solve the problem. Let's try one more together. So let's do number 2. Number 2. Oh man, I have a lot of things going on. I have 2 sets of parentheses, 1 with exponents. So first things first, I got to take care of what is actually on the inside of these parentheses first before I can even worry about anything else. So I'm going to start with the one that's on the left first. So 8 plus 4, that gives me 12. And so now I have 12 squared. Now I'm going to look at the next one. I have 13 minus 10 and divided by 5. I know looking at this, you'd probably want to do this first, but that's not the case. We have to take care of our division first. So 10 divided by 5, that gives me 2. So now I have 13 minus 2, which gives me 11. Now I can start working with my exponents. So now I have to take care of my 12 squared. Remember, this is the same thing as 12 times 12, which gives me 144 plus 11, and that gives me 155. And there you have it. And so I will do number 3 with you, and then I want you to try 4, 5, and 6 on your own. So number 3, I see division, multiplication, addition, and addition. So first I have to take care of my multiplication or division, but looking at it from the left to the right side is how I decide what I'm going to do first. Well, the division comes first, so that means I have to take care of this division first. 8 divided by 4 gives me 2. So now I have 2 times 19 plus 18 plus 13. Now I'm going to take care of the multiplication that's there. So 2 times 19. 2 times 19 gives me 38. Now I have 38 plus 18 plus 13. Well, this is now just an addition problem, and now I just have to add everything together. I personally like to add vertically versus horizontally. It's just a personal preference. It's not wrong if you do it horizontally. Up to you. 8, 8, 16. 16 plus 3 is 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my answer is 69. So pause here and try and see if you can do numbers 4, 5, and 6 on your own. So if you're just joining me back, you can see that I have 497 for number 4, 193 for number 5, and 106 for number 6. So now let's move on to finding the square roots. So on these ones, you can use a calculator, but also knowing your perfect squares is so helpful. And on all of these, we're not going past 16. So if you can know your perfect squares up through 16, that would be so helpful. And if you're like, well, what are perfect squares? That's when you take the same number times itself to get the answer. So 1 squared, that's 1. 2 squared, 4. 3 squared, 9. 4 squared, 16. 5 squared, 25. 6 squared, 36. 7 squared, 49. 8 squared, 64. 9 squared, 81. 10 squared, 100. 11 squared, 121. 12 squared, 144. 13 squared, 169. 14 squared, 196. 15 squared, 225, and then 16 squared, 256. So definitely pause here, get those written down. Those are going to be so important to have, and make sure that you guys do truly know them, because when doing these next few questions, if you know that answer, it's going to take you no time at all. So for example, number 7, the square root of 36. That's just equal to 6. On number 8, we have a negative on the outside. So that doesn't affect anything on the inside. We still have to take the square root of 49, which is 7, but because the negative is on the outside, it becomes a negative 7. Same thing on number 9. The negative is already there, so we can't get rid of it, and so we just have to take the square root of 225, which is 15. So go ahead and try numbers 11, 12, 13, and 14. So if you're just joining back, you can see that I have my answers already written down. For number 10 is 12, 11 is 13, number 12 is 3, 13 is negative 4, and 14 is a positive or negative 16. Okay, this last little bit is working with some arithmetic sequences. So I know it says write an equation, but that's not what we're going to be so focused on. We're going to be focused on, can we find the pattern? So on number 15, we're going from 1 to 5. That's plus 4. 5 to 9, plus 4. 9 to 13, it's also plus 4. So our sequence is going to be plus 4 every single time. So the next one on this one would be 17. Then we'd get 21, and the list goes on. Number 16. Right away, I can see that this one is decreasing. So from 21 to 15, I subtract 6. 15 to 9, subtract 6. So the next number after 3 is going to be negative 6. Sorry, negative 3. Then we'd get negative 9, negative 15, negative 21. This is the last one I'll do with you, and then I want you to see if you can figure out the rest. From negative 2 to positive 1, I add 3. Right away, I can see that's my pattern. So I'm going to get 10, then I'm going to get 13, 16, 19. So go ahead and see if you can try 18, 19, and 20. There you have it. There's 18, 19, and 20. So if you have any questions, let us know, but make sure you get this completed and have a wonderful rest of your day.